is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another Bring the Juice Colts podcast live stream. Guys, we're going to be reacting to Chris Ballard's 2025 training camp press conference. Just did a video just a minute ago talking about some of the things that the players have said, some of the things going on. But a very interesting, there was a lot of good stuff here from Chris Ballard and some stuff that made my head spin a little bit as well. So I'm here to kind of talk about it and go through it. So make sure that you guys coming in, be sure to hit that like button. Please be sure to comment. Be sure to subscribe. All that great stuff. Please do so. It helps the channel out, and we want to continue to keep building this thing. So everyone that's on YouTube, please like the stream. But thank you guys again so much. Charles, how's it going, man? Alex, what's going on, man? I'm not too bad. Peter Griffin in here. What's up, man? Good to see you. But, yeah, it's going to be definitely cool to take a listen here. Obviously, again, players return today to training camp. First practice is tomorrow. Ballard talking about training camp going into it. So we're going to hop into this. Let me know if you guys can't hear this very well. I'm just trying to get some stuff down, but it should work just fine. But again, everyone that's out here, be sure to like the stream. Please comment, please subscribe, all that good stuff. But let's do this.
Back at Grand Park, as always, this place does a tremendous job. And I always want to make sure we include that and thank everybody that's involved, all the volunteers, the people that help from the city and around the city. I think it's great for our fans. I don't think we can lose that as a team or as a league. Is like most important thing we have, is our fans and why we do what we do. And so I think these opportunities in training camp to be able to give them an up close, personal look into our team, I think is valuable. There's
Peter Griffin becoming a member of the channel. Thank you. Good, sir. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I already have you as a mod, so that's great. But thank you. Thank you so much.
Something different about human interaction, face-to-face human interaction.
Also, let me know if you guys can't hear this. I'm pretty sure you can, but I just want to make sure that I can.
That is, it drives me nuts because, I understand the value of social media, but there's no real human connection. And I truly believe that's what is one of the great aspects of training camp for our fans. And it's a great place for us to get ready to play and get ready for the season. We always are, flooded with calls from other teams that want to come scrimmage us because of this setup. It's so good and they enjoy coming. We got Green Bay coming in here this year, so that'll be a good, time for our fans to see not only our team, but also Green Bay. I haven't talked about Jim, Mr. Irsay and our loss. And I think it's appropriate, especially our relationship. I care deeply about him, and it's going to be a big loss, not only for the Indianapolis Colts, but for the National Football League. He was unique. He cared about the game. He cared about the game of football. And he'd always tell me, like, Chris, we take care of the game and the game will take care of everything else. And he was right. He was charismatic. He was very quirky and unique, as you all know. He loved the city of Indianapolis. He loved this city. He's very prideful in this city. He's prideful in the horseshoe. It's a big loss, not only for the organization, but I'm telling you, for the league. His experience, I don't think this gets stated enough. The history of the league, like, he cared about it. He cared about the history of the league. And, he's one of the originators, with when the CBA came into a place. He was one of I can't remember what, Peter Rucco, who's, retired a couple of years ago, but is a brilliant man and was close with Jim and was part of the, CBA process whenever they wrote the original CBA. And I know Bill Polian was a part of that. And I think there was 9 or 10 others, 9 or 10 people total. But I think sometimes forget, you see where the NFL is today, all right, as a league and how big it is. But you forget the owners back in the, mid 70s and early 80s, man. It was tough sledding, man. They had to struggle. And I think it gave him a great appreciation for, where we are now and the growth, but also the history. He never wanted to lose that. He never wanted to lose the history of the league. I think that's why his relationship with players was so special. Like, he cared about them all, and people have no idea. Like, you have no idea how giving a man he was. I mean, look, we're all flawed. We all have our demons. But man, he had as giving a soul as anybody I'd ever been around. So I feel very fortunate to have worked, for him, and he hired me, and always grateful. I mean,
yeah. So obviously talking about Jim Irsay, yeah, he was. I mean, there's a reason why a bunch of people were so wanting to, be around Jim Irsay, because he was a very giving person. He very much was, and that was one of his great things about him. And regardless of how you felt about, his other things that he did wrong, or things that, made him not look great in some images. I mean, when it came to just his generosity, though, I mean, he was one of one.
Extremely grateful. And then, going forward, I mean, I think he passed on to his daughters that same sense of community, to cherish the history of the game and to carry that forward. And I think all three of them are going to be outstanding. I do. I've been around them all a bunch. Carly and Kaylin a little bit more, because they're more, they're around more, but they're going to be outstanding. They're going to be outstanding owners. So now onto our team. All right, going forward, I'm still getting all the medical. As of right now, nobody on PUP. All right, so Anthony is good to go. He's been.
Yeah, so big one there. No one on the PUP list as of right now. Obviously, the guys are coming in. They're getting their medicals and other stuff, getting checked out for, the start of practice on Wednesday. And that's great. That's great to know, because obviously there's a couple different teams that have had a couple of issues already. John Davis, go Colts. Yes, that's right. Go Colts. Football's back, baby. When you talk about the Saints, they've had a bunch of people retire recently. And then you had the Lions have had at least one player out for the season already, and one guy that might miss a couple weeks as well. So definitely a drawback, but good thing is for the Indianapolis Colts, no major injury problems as of this moment. So we'll continuously keep you guys updated, but let's keep hearing it.
Throwing for about 3 weeks now. He's really upped his volume. First couple weeks will probably limit some volume, but no real restrictions other than volume restrictions. And that's something we'll keep. We have a 4-day stretch where we're practicing 4 days in a row. So this first week, you could see in day 2 or 3, a little bit of volume. We reduce his volume, but other than that, good to go. We feel good about where he's at. He's in great shape, and, he's ready to hit it and move forward. I know y'all probably talked to Zaire. He's in a good place. He's not quite there yet. We will not put him on PUP because we think he's going to be ready pretty quickly. I've watched him work out. And
so, okay. So Anthony Richardson, I said it in the video that I was talking about before. So only restriction is a volume restriction at times at the beginning of training camp. They made it sound like it wasn't going to be like, oh, we're going to keep him out of like certain drills and whatnot. Probably just, maybe a rep or two here and there they won't give to Daniel Jones, or they just may cut something down, or they just won't let him do a bunch after practice just to keep that shoulder from, having a re-aggravation potential. But that's good to know. Good that he's been throwing. Good that he's been doing fine. That's good. And then obviously with Zaire, it is a good thing to see that, he's not on the PUP, which informs you that they think he'll definitely be ready before the start of camp. So, or before they even get close to the regular season. So good sign there for that. Chris is a great guy. Contract up after 2026. No division titles, one playoff win. I think this is his last year if we don't make the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I definitely agree. I don't think Carly is going to, take time when it comes to this. So, but we'll go ahead and keep going here.
I think he'll be ready sooner than later. Jalen, JC will be ready. I've watched him work out a bunch. He's cleared and ready to go. And same thing with Samson. Samson is cleared and ready to go. There'll be a little volume with Samson working him back in. But he's cleared and ready to hit it. All right. Questions?
Chris, optimally, when do you want to know who your quarterback is going to be? Do you have to wait till late in the preseason? Or?
I think when Shane and the staff and I and our staff feels like, there's a sure starter, then we'll move forward to that. Timeline, I can't put one on it.
So already first question, talking about when they'll know who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, it's just going to take time.
The plan, Shane can speak to this. So what's the plan in terms of how you get a good look at both of them and how you split the reps?
I think everything, I think it starts now. I mean, look, OTAs is that's important, but there's not any pads on. All right. So, now that we're getting the pads and the work, I've always viewed OTAs as a developmental aspect of our game, which we're losing a little bit, but that's a teaching and learning and developmental time. This is when we crank up. So everything will be evaluated from practices to any kind of scrimmages we do, preseason games, all of that will be evaluated.
How much of a game element do you view as critical with those two?
I think it's important that they get into games and we'll play them. So I do think that's important.
Chris, is the conversation going forward with Anthony just with volume? I know he had aggravation issue. Shane said he was overused or stressed. Is that a conversation you all had about how to monitor him going forward just in general, considering yourself?
Yeah, and some things he's doing strength-wise and, the volume of throws each and every week, which, we track and, sometimes it gets a little out of whack. So we just got to make sure we're on top of it.
Dan Dockich is reporting that his source says if the Colts don't make the playoffs, the Irsay daughters will fire Ballard. Yeah, I mean, you're right, JC. Take it for what it's worth. Yeah, but I think that's what most people probably feel should happen, right? So, I mean, this is what happens. It moves on from here to there. I'd expect that. Then they sell the team and someone buys it and moves to another bigger market. Well, no, they're not selling the team right away. They may do it several years down the road when, their dad's memory of this is over, but they're not going to sell the Indianapolis Colts for that sort of reason. They're not doing that right now. So.
You got to make up anything for what he missed?
He didn't miss enough. What did he miss? 3 or 4 days? It wasn't like it was the whole off season. And I'm proud of Anthony. I mean, his mindset, he didn't, it's tough when you get hurt. Anytime you get hurt, you feel like you're letting somebody down, like a player, and it's different in the OTAs, but during the season, but when you get hurt, it's a tough deal on him mentally, and I'm proud of him. He worked through it. He went to work. He's in great shape. So, no, I don't think it'll affect him.
Chris, there's a lot of things players can work on, footwork, whatever technique. With injuries, I mean, with him, can you just sort of not worry about it? You just let him play.
God's plan. I wish I could control injuries. If we could, I would get out of this and go start a business doing that, because you'd make a lot of money doing it. No, it's look, sometimes things happen, guys get hurt. You wish it wouldn't happen, but it does. And you move forward no matter what.
What have been your big takeaways just being around Daniel Jones for a short period of time?
Good dude, really good guy. Centered. He's been through a lot. Daniel's been like, he's seen, and, being in New York and the scrutiny on being a top 10 pick is not for everybody. But I thought he handled it with grace and class like you would expect, and that's who he is. And Daniel's talented. Daniel's a very talented player, so it'll be a fun competition to watch between these two guys. They're both very talented.
You preach competition a lot with that position, but there is a challenge to having two different quarterbacks kind of interchangeably with the offense. So I guess, are you confident that your skill players are ready now to handle that? Is that, will that factor in at all to wanting to get an answer earlier either from later?
No, I think they can handle it. It's a veteran, even though they're young, they've all played a ton, and they've taken throws from both of them. So, no, their job is to get open and catch the football. So no, I don't see us pressing the timeline because of that.
You talk about being injured is mentally tough. It's also got to be hard mentally on a player.
Yeah.
High draft pick. Kind of guy brought in to compete with him. What have you seen from Anthony that tells you that he's going to be okay with that aspect?
It was, like when you're young and like sometimes when you get hurt, you'll it's easy to go into a shell. But he was, his mindset stayed very positive. I think once he heard from Dr. Elatrosh and our doctors that it wasn't a major concern going forward and that this was going to heal in a short amount of time, I think that eased his mind, which it would do anybody. But no, I'm proud of Anthony. He's growing. He's still young, but he's growing. I told you all this before, but unfortunately, growth does not happen through success. Growth happens through, you have to go through a lot of, and, a lot of times people don't have success because they don't want to go through it. Sometimes you got to go through it.
Chris, flipping to defense, Buck said today that last year's defense was the worst that he's been a part of being in Indy. So now that you brought in Lou, what changes do you expect to see from that side of the ball, and how much pressure is there to perform this season?
Well, look, all of us, and Buck's right, and look, Gus Bradley and that staff, those are good football coaches. Let me preface that. Those guys are really good football coaches, and all of us have our name on it. Like me, coaches, players, everybody has their name on it. I think, Lou's a little different. You're going to see some schematic change, probably a little more diversity within the scheme. But look, at the end of the day, this game is not hard. Like blocking and tackling, and don't turn it over. Usually you can track those things to wins. All right. We've got to be a better tackling team. Hopefully I've helped them. And my staff and I have helped them by giving them, more players to create a little more competition. But we've got to be a better tackling defense without question. And, hopefully we've added the pieces to help that.
You talked about the competition.
Yeah, so obviously talking about the defense and the changes there. Yeah, no doubt. This was a bad defense last year. And, Buck and a few other guys were very outspoken about how things were being done, like not just from the coach's perspective, but the players also. Ballard's right. It's a little bit of everything when you're talking about making an entire unit better. It's about the GM and the executives getting the right players in there to perform. It's getting the right coaches to diversify and make a game plan that works for these said players. And then, of course, when you're talking about the players themselves, players stepping up and understanding that it's not just about them, it's about the team. And that's what's going to be most important here is who is going to step up in this? Who is going to be that X factor on the defense this year that is going to bring a new level to this team that wasn't there in 2024?
Aspect of it right after the season. I think you can probably make a case that across the board, every unit has some level of competition. And did it hit the level that you hoped to accomplish back in January?
I think so. I mean, I think we've got look, of course, there's a few jobs that with great players that they're going to play no matter they're great players. And so I don't worry about them. But to watch, Tanner and Bordellini, compete, Jalen Travis and Freeland. I think Travis has got a really good ceiling to what he's going to become in our league. And Freeland has gotten stronger and bigger and stronger, which has been really encouraging. On the defensive line and I think it gets underscored a little bit because you probably didn't notice, but we think Neville Gallimore is going to really help us. He had a really good offseason. He's a really good dude. And we think he's going to add some real needed interior depth. But with the addition of Tim Smith and then Tommy had a great offseason. So this is going into year 3 and a big year for him. So I think you can point to a lot of different spots. Corner, with Wally, Juju, and Jones. That's going to be a good one to watch. And let me tell you, Wally is competitive now. He's a little pit bull. And it's fun to watch those type of competitions take place. I think at linebacker, we're going to have really good competition. A lot of unknown names. That's okay. Nobody knew who Zaire Franklin was. Nobody knew who Darius. Hell, we drafted Darius with a 36th pick, and y'all didn't know who he was. So, they got to make their own name by their play. Okay. So I think we've got good competition across the board.
Yeah.
Yep, it'll be fun to see some of those competitions throughout all this.
Expectations every year, obviously, each individual year, but when you have a string of playoff misses, the message from your players this morning was like, this has to end.
Yeah.
How do you see it? And is there additional pressure because it's been a few years?
Yeah, it sucks, man. It's the first time in my career I've ever gone 4 years without making. No, it's a bothersome thing, especially with the expectations we have here in Indy. That's the one thing with Jim that I always appreciated, man. Like he don't want to be average. He wants to be great. And that's Carly and I. Look, we spend a lot of time together because she's around us so much. But she always said, look, I don't want to be good. I want to be great. And that's always the goal going in. And 22 was 22 to lead it. The 23 season, last game of the year, we're right there. And even last year at the end, we didn't play as good as I thought we should have, but we were still kind of in the mix. And then you go back to 21 and we're in the driver's seat and we piss it down our legs. We have got to finish better. Like that, at the end of the day, we have to finish the seasons better because we've had some really good football teams that just haven't got it done.
First hit kind of echo.
So yeah, that definitely is true. Regardless of how you felt about those teams, he's not wrong. In 3 of the last 4 seasons that we haven't made the playoffs, 2021, it should have been an easy walk into the playoffs. And it was one of the most epic collapses they've ever seen. The Indianapolis Colts had a 97% chance to win and make it into the playoffs. All they had to do was either beat one of the 2 worst teams in the NFL that year. Couldn't beat either one of them. And then obviously in 2023, 1 game off, even despite a few plays off from that, and so it's definitely and then obviously last year, Indy had every chance last year to make it in and at the end of the year, and they didn't. So he's right. It kind of sucks that it's gotten to the point where the Colts are just always this close. They don't make it. They're just always this close. Tired of just being this close. I want to make it in.
That saying that there's a little bit of optimism knowing that they were so close last season despite playing poorly. How close do you think this group is to getting back to the postseason?
I don't know. I mean, it starts, look, we're kind of, I think we've got a good football team. How good we become will play out over time. Like, we got to go to work. I mean, it's always about there's not a magic pill that you can take. There's nothing, there's not a magic wand. You got to go to work. The one thing you love about the NFL is you got to earn the right to win. And it takes a lot of hard work and takes a group being connected and coming together. That's what's great about training camp. So kind of day by day, we'll go to work and we'll see if we can reach what we think we can be.
Is there any added pressure at all when there is a shift in ownership, or does it feel the same as it's been every year?
Pressure. I mean, people talk about pressure. Pressure. First, the change in ownership, no, that they understand what Jim wanted, and I think they'll do things differently, but they'll do things their way, but also with their father on their minds, I think, the whole time. And then when you talk about pressure, I mean, like we get to play football for a living. To me, it's all, for me in general, like, it's always about the journey. Like, the journey is the reward. Okay. The good and the bad. Like, at the end, like when you roll up at the end of your life and you look back, it's not going to all be roses. Okay. But to be able to do what I do and what we're able to do is play football every day. I don't ever take that for granted. That's not pressure in my mind. That's being blessed. Pressure is the family that is living week to week on paycheck trying to feed their kids. That's pressure. This is entertainment. And I have been blessed my entire career to be able to do something I love and I'm passionate about. And I will never one day take that for granted. Even I have to sit up here and take sometimes. It's okay, because I could be doing something else that I didn't love. Contracts. I mean, I won't talk about that, but he's a really good player and we think a lot of him.
So I mean, perhaps a different word, pressure or whatever, but in the space you're in, there is a certain level of expectation. And when Carly was saying it, she said that you and Shane, they know they haven't been good enough, or you have to fix this. So when you hear her say that, I guess, how do you feel?
No different than I feel about anything. Like, I don't know if y'all realize the amount of scrutiny that we put on ourselves. It's much harder than you. And I don't ever, if I go into something worried about the outcome and it being a negative outcome, that's no way to live, man. You can't live that way. I come to work and try to be the best steward I can be for this organization and for this city. That's what I try to do every day. That's it. And look, one day they're going to have a different GM. That's part of our league. I don't know when that'll happen, but I don't sit around thinking I don't think about that.
Knowing that, how hard is it for you to grade yourself after 4 years and not go to the playoffs, saying, I work my ass off, I do my best, and I've got to adjust somehow? How difficult is that?
It's not, I'm stubborn. I think y'all all know that. But I think we did in a lot of ways we did. And I think that's all part of growth. Being able to really look internally and figure out, okay, what we're doing, there's a lot of really good things that are very valid. But also being able to sit back and say, okay, we need to do things a little bit differently. And those discussions and collaborations with our staff was good. And I think we did do some things a little differently than we have in the past.
What do you feel? Take a couple more.
What about the obvious to you? What do you feel like those are in terms of things?
Well, we were more aggressive in free agency than, I say, Y'all say we never do. I mean, like, I disagree. I've always disagreed. I've told y'all that. I mean, like the year we signed Buckner and Rivers and, I mean, so, but we were more aggressive at the onset of free agency. And I think the guys, the players we signed are going to really help us and be good, be good Colts.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Being kind of on the hamster wheel, not making the playoffs, you talk about having confidence in your process. What gives you that confidence, and why should other people have confidence in your process? I guess the end result hasn't been there the last 4 years.
Yep. No, look, anytime you don't make the playoffs, people are going to question what you do. But at the end of the day, you have to believe in something. Like, we have to have, if we are vacillating on what everybody else says and thinks, then we really don't believe in anything. We have no belief in anything if we're not willing to believe in what we're doing. I do believe, I think we've drafted really well. I think we all, and done some, and not been perfect by any stretch. Not by any stretch. I'm not saying we're perfect, but I think we've done some good things. And I think we've done some good things with the team. But at the end of the day, the one position we all know, we have to get the quarterback settled, and, get that position carries such an importance to just almost the state of your team when you've got that position solidified. He's one of 53, and it's not all about him, but he's an important piece.
How much has the last 2 years with Anthony, the injuries, kept you guys from being settled offensively, just in terms of learning him, being able to develop the identity? It feels like, usually there's a new quarterback, it takes like 6 games, and then you guys kind of figure something out. But it's been in and out so much. As the coaching staff had a chance to really learn that.
I'm trying to get with what you're getting at here. I mean, like, our offensive philosophy, it's going to change a little bit, when Anthony's in the game. And I think Daniel and Anthony are similar in a lot of ways. Now, Gardner and Anthony were completely different. Flacco and Anthony were completely different. So I think you'll see more, continuity, and really all of our quarterbacks now. They all, have ability to do some things with their feet. So I think you'll see more, of a similar offense with each guy. Now, you figure out what each one of them are really good at, and you try to do that. That's the one thing I always appreciated about Coach Reed in Kansas City, is like, whatever the quarterback was, man, he could fit it. And, Shane can do the same thing. But now we have, the group is they're different, but there's some similarities. So I think the offense will be able to carry over a little bit more.
This year is a make or break year for Anthony. And I know you said follow up to that.
So this was, I think that was James that asked this question, I believe. Catch this. This is probably one of the more bigger things that Ballard had to say when it came to this press conference, was about whether or not this is a make it or break it year for Anthony Richardson. Now, popular opinion amongst the Colts fan base has been, if he can't beat out Daniel Jones, or if he goes out this year and still looks like garbage, then it's time to move on. But let's see what Ballard has to say about this.
Why not? Considering that he's going to see year 3, you have the option coming up, that decision. But I guess why your timeline perhaps different than one I might have perceived at the outside?
Do you think people regret Baker Mayfield's timeline? Sam Darnold's timeline? Let's just go. Exactly. And so how about sometimes you got to have a little patience with a guy and let them grow through things. Now, there's got to be, like, if you just know this guy, no, he can't do it. But if you think, hey, he's on the right trajectory, why are you going to flush him just because people outside think you should flush him? I don't agree with that. I think we need to give Anthony every chance to be the best he can be. And I think he can be really good, but things got to come together.
Okay. So big one there. Okay. So I was talking with Cody about this earlier in the day. So the problem, and James, and I think that, again, I think it's James asking it, and he even said, when he said, do people question Baker Mayfield's timeline or Sam Darnold's timeline? And immediately when I hear that, I hear the same thing that James said, where he said they switched teams. They switched teams. Obviously now they're better after several years. I mean, again, Baker is now what? So he was in the 2018 draft, right? So that means he's about to be entering, what is it now, year 8? Year 8? I mean, it took a long time for him to be as good as he is now. It took at least 5 to some years, at least. And the problem with that statement is Baker Mayfield was already already solid when he came into the league. He had several years of experience, and he was more polished as a player. And he even set the rookie touchdown record. and he had some solid years in Cleveland. And there were some people that even still to this day, Cleveland fans, that are like, why did we get rid of him? But ultimately, they argue, a lot of people will argue the reason why he's better now versus when he was in Cleveland was that he had more growing up to do. Being cut changed that for him. And you surrounded him with a better team and a better offense in Tampa, and it made him better. And Sam Darnold, it's the same thing. Got drafted by the Jets. And again, Sam Darnold was a much better prospect coming out of USC than Anthony Richardson was out of Florida, okay? And Darnold struggled, yes, because he's playing with the Jets. He's playing with the Jets. Jets suck. The Jets suck. Nobody disagrees with that. The Jets suck. And no one in an offensive game plan has been able to figure out offensively what the hell to do in New York for forever. They haven't had a good quarterback in New York in over 15 years. So my problem with that statement is, I get what he's saying, is that for some people, it takes a long time. For some people, it takes a lot of years. And no doubt, I've been saying the same thing when it came to Anthony Richardson, is that he was a 20-year-old quarterback that played 13 collegiate games. He wasn't ready. He's just not. It doesn't matter if you give him 2-3 years of experience. A lot of times it's not going to be exactly what you want yet. But the problem that we have is, how long are we willing to wait? And also, does he actually look better this season? I mean, again, he may not even win the job. He may not even win the job. So if Anthony Richardson is sitting on the bench behind another quarterback that he couldn't beat out, what's the point of the reps? What's the point of the reps that he's not getting at that point? Right? So very strange, given the fact that, again, obviously you have the situation where Chris Ballard at the very end of the season said, we're going to have a quarterback competition. And now we're hearing, regardless of what happens with Anthony Richardson, we need to give him more time. Will it happen? I don't know. It just feels weird. I don't know. It just feels weird to me. Obviously, this is inciting that the Indianapolis Colts, as it sits right now, have no desire to do anything with Anthony Richardson after this year, regardless if he plays good or bad. At least that's what it's seeing right now.
So put a pin on that. How have the injuries complicated that's, just trying to pass that?
Oh, there's no question it's complicated. I mean, you miss, like, you just think about missing and I know the mental reps, yes, but it's physical reps, just practice reps, all that stuff. When you miss it, yeah, it does. It delays the timeline a little bit.
You talk about the order of the seasons, obviously week one, storyline's still there. When you think about both of those things, start, finishes, anything training camp wise you guys have done to try and change how you start or finish season?
This will be a pretty physical training camp. Okay. And Shane and I've had long talks about that. This game is still, look, toughness still wins. It does. And I think that, we're limited enough as it is without pads. And the NFL and I think football in general has done an unbelievable job taking the head out of the game. Okay. They're teaching much different than they did 10, 15 years ago. They've taken the head out of the game, but it's still a physical game. All right. And I think to be physical, you have to practice physical. You do. So I think you'll see a little switch there.
Talking about it being a more physical training camp. Certainly hope that doesn't backfire.
One more here.
With AR, what things have you seen just trajectory-wise to give you hope that he can figure out, considering the injury, the accuracy, the basic?
Yeah. Well, look, there was a 3-game run, 3 or 4 game run, after his benching when he came back, that was really good. I think we'd all agree that was a great stretch of football. And there's been stretches of accuracy that's been really good. The Jet game was, that's probably the best game he played in his career against a really good defense. The record didn't show it, but that team defensively was really good. And then what really gives me a lot of hope, so I don't know if you can think back to these moments, but at the end of the Pittsburgh game, people forget we had to get a first down there. He threw a pass to Pittman to get the first, to kind of get the clock down. In pressure moments, his ability to slow it down and make a play, he's shown it multiple times. You go back to his rookie year against the Rams. We're down 23-0, brings us back to tie the game. The Jet game, to win it. He had to make throws to win it. New England, 4th down throw to get us within, the 2-point conversion. So there's been some signs in pressure moments that he can get things done. Now we just got to be able to do it all the time.
All right.
Thank you. Awesome.
That's it. All right, guys. Well, that was Chris Ballard speaking with the media about training camp coming up and all these other things. So I just want to say thank you again to everyone that tuned into this today. Greatly appreciate it. Again, continue to keep up with all of our content, guys. We will have more coming for sure. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.